James is eating penne pasta, baked potato, and arugula with pomegranate arils. And I'm going to talk about Gonzo, the life and work of Dr. Hunter S. Thompson. Well, actually, I think James will.
No,
and
you will too. I want to get your reaction too.
And Blues on Beale. James will talk about that a little more. And I will definitely be the one talking about Keanu Reeves in John Wick Chapter 4. Oh, and yeah, James is going to talk about, he's going to put some book reviews into that.
Enough for the last little while. We get around to it. Just and something I finished this morning.
Cooling for the dogs.
It's the 20. Did I put 21st finished up? Yes. Yeah, I should have put 20th. I think it's the 20th today. Anyway, Barbadian dialect.
I think I'm just going to mention John Wick, the fourth one, is awful. It very much deserves to be on the bottom of any stack. It is so bad.
What did you think of the first three, though? Awfully good.
I expected
Number one
so
was
much
awesome.
from this fourth one, and honestly, I fell asleep within the first 10 minutes.
I was shocked. Pauline was watching in her bedroom, and I was out in the living room, and I came in there, and she was asleep, or just I kind of woken her up, and I'm going, wow, it had just seemed to have started. And that was not what I was expecting.
I woke up after like about 36 minutes, I think it was 36 minutes and some seconds. And anyway, I wish that I hadn't woken up. It was that bad.
That's too bad. Because Keanu,
ridiculous.
He was pretty good in The Matrix, don't you think?
Yeah, well, no, but I like him in the John Wick stuff too. But
I think he's actually better in the Wick stuff. Because I think in The Matrix he's supposed to be semi-intelligent, but the thing about John Wick is he literally is the average guy, and that's not that bright.
He's just a tough guy.
And but he does have a heart, because in that first movie, when they take out his dog, he conveys it to you.
Oh yeah.
It's like they've killed your dog, and. The thing I like about
and they have one part in this movie that kind of plays back to that a little bit, right? You know that about John Wick. You know that he cares about dogs.
But he does it kind of deadpan. It's amazing how he or his director or whatever gets it across. He's kind of deadpan when he's doing it, but you really, really feel it. And it's a different formula. The other formula, it's not that different, is hard. With it's not hard case with that guy who used to work with Sybil Shepherd, Bruce Willis. What is it? It's what he. Die Hard. There we go. There they go after his family, right? And that's bad enough. With John Wick, it's even worse. They go after his dog. No, it is not worse. But the reason why I think like Bruce Willis, you get the sense that he can kind of take care of himself. But John Wick is just an average guy. Like there's no way.
He needs that dog.
Like Bruce Willis, you get the impression is smarter than the average bear and smarter than the average guy. Way smarter. And there's no way you can hide it. You get the feeling like he's an average family guy, kind of like. Well, maybe better than average. I don't know about the average guy, whether it would be that low to his family. But
I don't know.
Anyway, I like it. So.
I like Keanu Reeves as John Wick. I don't necessarily share your opinion about him being like the average guy or whatever. I don't think that's.
Oh, is that true? Okay.
But anyway.
I get the feeling that if he were Canadian, he'd love hockey. Right?
Okay. But anyway, this fourth chapter, wow, it was bad. The worst part, I think, for me, was when the blind guy was playing cards. That was just...
Maybe it was Braille. Oh, great. That's awesome. Oh. Maybe they were marked with Braille. Well, okay. Of course, that's not Keanu Reeves' fault, though.
No.
You're not criticizing him necessarily.
Maybe the worst part was when they were fighting each other like crazy and shooting and everything, and people were still dancing in the club. Maybe that was the worst part.
That one's
I don't know. I mean, there's so many bad things to choose from.
Okay, yeah. People, they say when they hear guns going off, it sounds pop, pop, pop. It's not like it sounds like in the movies. But once people realize what's going on, people clear.
Yeah.
I've been in a crowd like that.
Really?
Well, I've seen it. I've talked about Altamont. How people are crowded up against the stage. This is late 69. The Rolling Stones are there. Bikers, Hells Angels have got their motorbikes, I guess basically right next to the stage. People are jostling the bikes. And, you know, the bikers think, the Hells Angels think it's a fair trade. They jostle the bikes, and then they jostle the people. You know, with leaded pool cues. Boom,
I've talked
boom.
about before that these fight scenes between men, it's like dancing. So maybe people would think that they're just dancing if they're just fighting in a club. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Because, like, I know this one time when I was in a bar and there was a guy with a broken bottle that was wanting to start something in the next. I didn't even know what had happened. I was at the next table.
Pauline wrote a very good poem about
yeah,
that.
you'll get to hear it one day.
That's awesome. I think you made a song out of that, didn't you? It's really, really good.
I haven't sung it yet.
No.
But anyway, you talk about...
What happened at Altamont is, I don't think the people are reacting to the Meredith Hunter who drew the gun. They're reacting to Hells Angels wading into the crowd, going after Meredith Hunter, ultimately killing him with their leaded pool cues, I gather. No, it's actually knife. You can see in the film Give Me Shelter, there's one angel stabbing away. But people just clear. We're told there are 300,000 of them. How they cleared that fast, I have no idea. But I experienced that. It was one Christmas time. It wasn't exactly Christmas Day. And it was the capital of Greyhound, in Canada, which used to be Calgary. Now they've closed it down. They're trying to figure out what to do with that. What was a fairly new depot.
Well, it's a good building. I don't know what.
It's an awesome building. I don't know about the location so much, but it is downtown, close to downtown, right next to downtown. Anyway, it was full to, I guess, basically overflowing. All of a sudden, there's this chill of fear that goes through the crowd. It's just you can hear people saying, someone's got a knife up there, someone's got a knife up there, and they all start piling back on me, you know. They're just clearing out of there. So that's just one, there were a report of a knife. And yeah, so if they're having a gunfight, people would be just clearing out of there in real life.
Anyway, so go ahead and talk about the blues and Gonzo.
Okay. Blues on Beale Street. Gotta cover this. Because this one's going back.
Yeah, you definitely don't need to watch John Wick. That one's definitely going back.
Oh, well, I'm talking about Blues on Beale Street. I just gotta go back because I don't think it's worth watching.
You don't want to watch it again? Okay.
Maybe not. All right, watch and or listen to it twice.
I'm going to give the dog some of this while you get started.
So the other day, I think it was yesterday, I was mentioning this, and I was calling blues boring. And to a large extent it is. You know, like when you're looking at the composition, 12-bar blues. Whew. The composition it's worse than the Ramones at their most elementary. But I was mentioning the other day, I guess, pretty boring song compositionally. I guess it's I'm a Man or something like that. Mannish Boy. Is that what it's called? Yeah. By Muddy Waters. The Rolling Stones covered it, at least one. But it's Muddy Waters' performance in band's Last Waltz. Excuse me for looking off to the side here. It's not that you don't mean much to me, but I'm seeing a little blue jay there. I think he wants me to feed him. I'll get you some food here. Oh, you're getting it yourself. That's good. Self-serve. There we go. Anyway, it's a boring song. The lyrics aren't that good. Mannish Boy, whatever it's called. But Muddy Waters in that film, he's not a young pup anymore. And he does a great job performing the song. So I've got a kind of like a soft spot for the blues. I was kind of raised on it, or raised myself on it. It wasn't my favorite form of music. Some of my favorite performers, Rolling Stones back in the day, not so much recently, raised themselves on it, and in some ways they improved the standard. Eric Clapton too. They tended to amp the stuff up instead of going with the sluggy bass and getting some of the blues song. Still get some of the blues song. So I have listened and or watched to this 2 times. I actually watched it maybe 1.5 times. Listened to the first 37 minutes or so. Kind of not so much in the background, listening fairly attentively. So this is a blues, what is it, International Blues Competition, IBC or something like that. For 1 year, I believe it was 2020, just before the COVID hit, maybe January 2020. Maybe that's the time to be hanging around Memphis. It's probably pretty hot there in the summertime. And they got people from all over the world. Very small representation of black competitors. And there's some irony perhaps involved with that, because of course it was black or African American folks that originated the style. And it's interesting to see who won the competition. I'm going to give it away because they don't really follow it very closely. It's actually a Canadian group. Are they from Toronto? Ottawa? Something like that. Canadian group that won. And they might have won it because only their drummer was slightly overweight. You know, they must have had to have reinforced stages for some of the acts. There's one sister act or relative act. I think there's 6 women involved, and my heavens, they're all overweight. You young folks out there, get it together. You are going to put huge demands on our healthcare system, on our health insurance system. What are you thinking? Don't take that extra Twinkie. For Pete's sake. Is it a psychological problem? I don't think so. I think it's a lazy problem. Get out there and do some walking, do some running, do some swimming. Get a real job where you know, like, I used to have a janitorial job where I worked in the evenings, you know, until midnight, or I'd work from midnight, 11 o'clock until 7 in the morning. And when you're doing that year-round, you're kind of a little bit, at least I was, a little bit susceptible to something, it's an acronym, I guess, not so much an initialism, called SAD, or SAD, Seasonal Affective Disorder. And I can remember, I could stash away, you get cravings, I guess most people do, for carbohydrates, sugar, whatever. And I could get a bag of Dare cookies, not the biggest bag, and I could just put that away in one sitting. You think I'd put on weight? Because I'd run to work, walk back. More than 8 hours a day. The city of Lethbridge, frankly, morally, if not legally, owes me tens of thousands of dollars of free overtime. And, you know, like, I'd be giving this stuff to management, and they'd still want more. You know, so-and-so wants this done. So-and-so wants that done. Say, what? I'm giving you and them free overtime, and you and they want more? But anyway. So, yeah, I was on my feet a lot. Didn't have a car. So unless I was going over to the other side of Lethbridge, which involves going down, it's well over a mile, I'd say, at least from where I live, to the University of Lethbridge. I'd take the bus out there. Otherwise, I just walk around everywhere. And, you know, like, what was my weight? 160 pounds on a 5'9" frame. And that involved a little bit of muscle, not much. 160 pounds. So when I see, you know, and this was up until I was about age 40.
Look how thin I sliced the tiramisu cake.
Awesome. She's
Mostly
making it
raspberries.
last. Yeah. And awesome raspberries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I already ate my raspberries.
Yeah, the raspberries are the best part.
Healthiest and the best part. But it's awesome cake too. It's just an indication how good the raspberries are. Or how good raspberries can be. Some of these raspberries are very good. The occasional one is a little bit gone. That's okay. No. Spit worthy or whatever. So, you know, like, it really is a moral issue. I'm sorry. You're just not active enough. Like, you got a psychological problem where you can't get out there and do some walking? Huh? What's that about? Do some walking. Burn off some calories. I was taking in huge amounts of calories. And by today's standards, I probably looked almost like skin and bones. You've seen pictures of me playing soccer.
Yeah.
But it was really, someone once said, James, you got the ideal mesomorph. It's like mesomorph. It's not like thin sort of stuff. I wasn't thin like Djokovic, the tennis player, or anything like that. But I had no extra fat. None. It's on you. So I see these poor people in here, like, you know, stuffing a stage. You know, it used to be back before I, you know, like when I was a young pup, I never saw anyone do it. But apparently people would stuff phone booths. Well, nowadays, you know, like if they still had phone booths, if you were lucky, one person would be stuffing a phone booth, you know, it would be bursting at the seams, smash, smash, smash. What happened to all the windows of that phone booth? Oh, they just got one of these blues performers in there. Anyway, amazing. They had some of the history of the blues and stuff like that. It was almost like a guilt trip, right? We were feeling really bummed because the two people that are up front center doing the introductions and handing out the prizes, they're both as white as my big toe, and so on and so forth. And you look at the audiences, they're almost all white. You know, you see them trying to clap to the back. They're trying to look hip and all that sort of stuff. They're as white as can be. You know, they're as white as the clouds, and white as cirrus cloud, not so much cumulonimbus. And so on and so forth. Now we're talking about blues being about performance, basically, because composition, yeah, pretty sad. That's been the history, and you know, aside from the lyrics, the lyrics are kind of good in a folksy kind of way, some of them. But there's some really good performances here. Really good performances. One guy who made it, he might have won for a solo or triple, or double act. He was amazing. I think he had one of those harmonica holders. He was playing harmonica while playing guitar. I think his name was something Slim. It wasn't Fat Slim or whatever. Fritz Slim. And it sounded as though he's playing the kazoo on a harmonica holder while playing guitar. Wasn't the greatest vocalist. He had some sort of an accent. It sounded Spanish. It's amazing how many people were of Spanish extraction that won
I'm
awards.
surprised.
Yeah, because you don't think of that. You know, think of
Did you mention it was sort of a contest kind of thing? Where-
International Blues
that
Competition.
was really good about
IBC.
that, yeah.
Well, I guess they tended to pick out the better performers. There was a guy called Ricky Wheels and the Swamp Donkeys, and he had a bad accident diving in a place.
Yeah, I saw that part. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very impressive. I don't know how he had the voice, because you can see he's all hunched over in the wheelchair and stuff like that. Made me feel sympathetic, and I'm all hunched over, my back's all smashed up and nothing like it. Anyway, he's got a pretty, I don't know how he generates the vocals he does, but they had a pretty good act. I like the one guy in a Russian, I think it was the bass player. He looked like a Russian army officer's suit, but then he had an American kind of like flag adapted on his back, just so you didn't get the wrong impression. And I think their lead guitar player had cystic fibrosis, which I gather causes the lungs. They send that guy a little trouble doing vocals. So they had some interesting folks in here. They had a band from Korea, blues band.
You would not expect that.
No, you wouldn't. But you know, the Koreans, they've done some amazing things. That's from Southern Korea. You know, like the rest of the world, South Korea, we're not worthy. I know there are all sorts of flunkies who were hanging in the NDP with me and stuff like that. We're going around dissing South Korea. Oh, it's a dictatorship. But I think it was around 1988. You guys got something like a democracy, maybe more effective democracy in the United States right now. Donald Trump lurking out there in Mar-del-Lago or wherever he hangs out. You know, like when he's not running around acting like a vampire in beauty contests, like busting into dressing rooms, especially the dressing rooms for Miss Teenage USA, stuff like that, where he's grabbing women by various parts of their anatomy. So yeah, South Korea, K-pop, not what I exactly like, but apparently like that one big group has broken some of the, or all of the Beatles records and stuff like that. They turn out apparently high quality cars, affordable, all that sort of stuff for the quality out there. You know, like in the rest of the world, are you noticing? You know, United States, kind of like your friend. United States under Donald Trump, I don't know. But you're going around dissing the United States, and people like Taiwan, countries like Taiwan, again, I don't know when they got the democracy, maybe 2000 or something like that. But you know, like, they've adjusted. Japan adjusted the United States a long time ago, maybe 1853, Commodore Perry or whatever his name was, kind of laid down the law. And I think a lot of people thought, hey, you know, like, that's really bum-headed, the Americans. You know, the Americans kind of let they open up Japan. But you know, I think basically what they were saying to Japan is, hey, you'd better open up or you're going to end up like Vietnam. You know, like one of these countries in Europe is going to take you over. Because you get some samurai at the, hey, Europeans, I'm going to take on you and your cannons. Ain't going to work out, even with a big samurai sword. Japanese did have some trouble during World War II. They were on the correct side in World War I. They actually got a little bit of land out in the South Pacific or something like that from the Germans. World War I. People don't know about that. And they were on the right side fighting the Russians in the 1904, 1905 war. A lot of people don't realize one of the reasons why they won is the Brits were on their side. And the Russians were sending their big, from their Atlantic fleet over to the Pacific. Going, you know, they wanted to go apparently through, I think, they must have, to the Suez Canal. That would have made it short. Who owned or controlled the Suez Canal? Oh, the British. The British said, hey, we're on the side of the Japanese. We're not going to let you through. So then they come around Africa. And the Brits had coaling stations along there, and the Russians are saying, please, please, can we use your coaling stations? And we say, yeah, didn't you get the message? We're on the side of the Japanese in this one. So I don't know if the French cooperated with the Russians. They did make it around just in time to get, I think it was the Straits of Tsushima. The Japanese gave them some trouble. And the Japanese, I don't know if it was before or after, then kind of took out the Russian fleet in Vladivostok, ruler of the East. It didn't quite live up to its name. It's more like a loser of it. Anyway, so there was a Korean band. They didn't do that well, but they they made it down to the finals. You know what I'm saying? They weren't just like some sort of flunkies. One group that was very impressive was Croatians. And thank you, you Croatians, where they called the bluesy trio or something like that. But they weren't a trio. Anyway, bluesy something or other. Three instruments and then a woman singing, very, very good. And I think all of them, except maybe one, maybe the drummer there too, they were all proper weight. Now, of course, by today's standards, they look kind of lanky or
emaciated,
gaunt.
yeah.
But they're just the right weight. You guys cut maybe the most impressive figure of any, or figures of all the groups there, and they did make it down close to the finals and stuff like that. Maybe they made it to the final. I don't think they won in their category, anything like that. But thank you. Croatians are apparently not just good at soccer, and they're per capita maybe the best in the world at producing soccer players. Argentina might be their only competition, and Argentina's got quite a bit bigger population. They did a great job. So Croatia, who'd expect it? Blues. And there was one woman, she was fantastic looking. She looked like, that's on in terms of conventional standards, except she was running to incredible weight. It just didn't show in her face at all. She looked like a movie star or whatever. She was from Toronto, and she had some gruesome tattoos. There she is right there. Mm-hmm. And she looked great without serious makeup. I mean, she's got lipstick on, but when they were interviewing her, it didn't look as though she had any lipstick, maybe some stuff on her eyes and so on and so forth. But she was pretty good. I'd say maybe better than Janis Joplin or whatever. Conventionally, a whole lot better looking than Janis Joplin. But they had the occasional black person. There was this guy was a representative of all the white folks coming in. But it's not just white folks. It's people from all around the world. One person that impressed me, his voice was kind of a little bit funny, a little bit higher than I expected. Pollock was his last name. He's from Australia.
A blues guy from Australia.
Yeah. He didn't look like a blues guy. I'm telling you. Speaking of Hollywood looks, this guy wasn't lugging around too much weight either. He looked like Justin Trudeau, basically Justin Trudeau's best. Very handsome guy. And he had some pretty good licks on the guitar too. He was just playing acoustic guitar. But he was showing how he could play different styles of acoustic guitar. He's going, okay, he was doing ragtime, and then he did, I can't remember what, it was more a blues thing. And then he said, I'm going to show you B.B. King style. B.B. plays electric guitar. But I'm going, that's B.B. Like he's bending the strings and the vibrato.